Many people wake up each morning and step into their day without really knowing where they're headed. They move from one task to another, hoping that somehow life will reveal the perfect path. But the truth is this: direction doesn't just appear. Direction is chosen. And once you choose it, your entire world begins to shift. Think of your life as a long journey. Without a map or a compass, you could walk for years and still find yourself far from where you truly wanted to be. But when you have a destination in mind, even if the road is filled with twists and turns, every step carries meaning. The mountains you must climb stop looking like barriers and start looking like milestones. The storms you endure become proof of your resilience. And every challenge transforms from an excuse to quit into a reason to grow stronger. Having direction doesn't mean you'll avoid difficulties. Far from it. Even the most prepared traveler faces detours, unexpected obstacles, and days when progress feels painfully slow. But a clear sense of where you're going allows you to adjust your sails rather than drift aimlessly. Without direction, life is like a ship tossed by the wind, sometimes landing in calm waters, but just as often crashing against unseen rocks. With direction, even the stormiest sea becomes navigable. Think of Serena Williams. She didn't stumble into becoming one of the greatest athletes of all time. As a child, her direction was clear: to master the game of tennis. The vision guided her through endless training sessions, through losses that could have broken her spirit, and through injuries that would have ended another player's career. She wasn't just swinging a racket, she was moving toward a mountain she had chosen to climb. And that mountain gave her the energy to rise again and again. The same is true for anyone. When you know your direction, opportunities reveal themselves. A young person dreaming of medicine notices a hospital volunteer program others overlook. An aspiring musician hears of a local open mic and knows instantly it's a chance to grow. Meanwhile, those with no clear vision walk past the same doors without ever realizing they were open. Opportunity doesn't just arrive, it becomes visible to the eyes that know what they are looking for. Still, many people hesitate to choose a direction because they fear making the wrong choice. They stand at the base of life's mountain range, staring up at countless peaks, paralyzed by indecision. But direction is not a prison, it is a beginning. Choosing one mountain to climb doesn't mean the others disappear. In fact, once you reach one summit, you often discover new paths and higher peaks you couldn't even see from below. What matters most is that you begin to climb. This choice also brings a powerful sense of peace. When you know what matters, saying no to distractions becomes easier. You stop scattering your energy across 100 different pursuits and start focusing it like sunlight through a magnifying glass. Scattered light warms, but focused light burns through obstacles. The same energy you already have suddenly becomes more powerful, simply because it is aligned with a chosen purpose. Consider Oprah Winfrey. She didn't start her career with fame and fortune waiting for her. What she had was a clear direction: to use her voice to uplift and inspire. That clarity allowed her to say no to paths that didn't serve her vision, and yes to the opportunities that did. Over time, that direction carried her from a difficult childhood to becoming one of the most influential voices on the planet. Her power didn't come from chance. It came from direction. Your direction doesn't need to be grand or global to matter. It doesn't have to involve wealth, fame, or applause. Your chosen path might be raising children with love, creating art that makes people smile, or building something useful with your own two hands. What matters is that it comes from your heart and pulls you forward with genuine excitement. That sense of purpose turns ordinary days into adventures and routine struggles into meaningful steps. Imagine two friends standing at the same crossroads. One has decided they want to become a teacher who inspires young minds. Each choice they make what to study, how to spend their time, who to learn from, aligns with that vision. The other friend hesitates, drifts from one path to another, trying everything but committing to nothing. A year later, the first friend is already living their dream, while the second is still searching for something they can't quite define. That is the difference direction makes. So, how do you find your own direction? Start by asking yourself, what excites me so much that even the thought of it brings energy? What activities make me lose track of time? What kind of contribution would make me proud at the end of my life? These questions don't need to be answered overnight, but even sitting with them will start to pull you toward clarity. And clarity is power. The moment you begin to define your path, life begins to shift around you. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. People who share your vision begin to enter your world. Energy that once felt scattered becomes focused and strong. And perhaps most importantly, you stop wandering and start walking with purpose. That single shift can transform everything. So don't wait for the perfect direction, because perfection never arrives. Choose the mountain you're willing to climb today. Start walking toward it, even if your steps are small. Trust that the climb itself will reveal new horizons and higher peaks. Direction is not about finding the one right answer. It's about daring to begin. And once you do, every sunrise brings not just another day to survive, but another step closer to the life you are building with intention. When people imagine success, they often picture extraordinary bursts of effort, sleepless nights of work, sudden inspiration, or dramatic sacrifices. But lasting success rarely comes from those rare explosions of energy. It comes from what you do repeatedly, quietly, consistently. Your habits create the shape of your future, brick by brick, choice by choice. Think of it this way. Willpower is like a battery. It starts charged in the morning, but every decision drains it. By evening, that battery feels empty, and suddenly the promises you made to yourself, going for a run, reading instead of scrolling, cooking instead of ordering fast food, feel harder to keep. But habits solve this problem. Once an action becomes automatic, it no longer requires constant energy. It flows naturally, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. That's why habits matter more than bursts of motivation. They carry you on the days when energy runs low. Consider LeBron James. His legendary performance on the basketball court isn't the result of one massive effort. It's the product of thousands of hours spent in daily routines. Shooting drills, fitness training, recovery sessions. He doesn't wait until he feels like practicing. He does it because it has become a rhythm ingrained into his life. Habits turn effort into identity, and identity creates destiny. The secret is starting smaller than you think. Most people fail at building habits because they aim too high too quickly. They decide they'll exercise an hour a day, cut all sugar, meditate for 30 minutes, and read 2 books a week, all starting Monday. By Friday, exhaustion sets in, and they quit. Real change begins with steps so small they feel almost too easy. Want to start running? Begin by putting on your running shoes every morning. Want to eat healthier? Drink 1 glass of water right after waking up. These actions may seem insignificant, but repeated daily, they create a powerful foundation. Think about how rivers carve canyons. It's not through sudden floods, but through steady flow over centuries. In the same way, small daily actions, done consistently, carve deep grooves into your life. 1 push-up a day may not transform your body this week, but it builds the identity of someone who moves. 1 page a day may not make you a scholar tomorrow, but it creates the identity of a reader, a learner, a thinker. And identities, once formed, are incredibly powerful. Scientists call this process habit stacking. The idea is simple. Anchor a new habit to something you already do. For example, if you brew coffee every morning, You can use that moment as a trigger to add something new. While the coffee cools, you might write 3 things you're grateful for, read 1 page of a book, or stretch for 5 minutes. The existing habit acts as a hook, making the new one easier to remember. Over time, it becomes second nature. Let's look at J.K. Rowling before she became a world-famous author. She didn't write Harry Potter in one brilliant weekend. She built a routine of writing consistently, even when she was exhausted, even when she felt uninspired. At first, she wrote in short bursts, sometimes only a few sentences. But those small sessions accumulated into chapters, then into books that touched the entire world. Her story isn't about sudden genius. It's about disciplined habits that compounded into greatness. The compounding effect is where the magic lies. Just as money grows in a savings account, actions multiply when repeated daily. Read 10 pages a day, and you'll finish dozens of books in a year. Walk 20 minutes each morning, and you'll have covered hundreds of miles by year's end. These numbers sound small until you realize how quickly they separate those who act consistently from those who only act when they feel like it. Tracking habits makes the process even more powerful. Something as simple as marking an X on your calendar each day you complete your habit creates momentum. The growing chain becomes a visual reminder of your progress. You won't want to break it. Missing 1 day is human. Missing 2 days begins a pattern. The key is always to return immediately, without guilt, without waiting for a new Monday or a new month. Get back on track the very next day. Of course, building habits isn't just about discipline. It's also about joy. If you hate every step of your routine, you won't sustain it. Instead, attach positive emotions to your habits. Celebrate small wins. Notice the benefits. Smile when you check off that daily action. The more your brain associates habits with satisfaction, the more naturally you'll repeat them. Your environment also plays a role. If you want to practice guitar, leave it visible on a stand rather than hidden in a case. If you want to eat fruit, keep it on the counter where you'll see it. If you want to write, set a notebook on your desk. Make good habits obvious and easy, while making unhelpful habits invisible and inconvenient. The path of least resistance often determines our choices, so build an environment where the right choice feels natural. And here's the truth. It's not about perfection. You don't need to live every day flawlessly. The goal is progress, not punishment. Habits are forgiving. They don't care if you stumble. They only care if you return. 1 missed workout, 1 skipped page, 1 evening of distraction doesn't erase the foundation you've built. What matters is consistency over months and years. That's what shapes character. That's what builds destiny. So don't underestimate small beginnings. Don't wait for the perfect burst of energy or the magical day when everything feels right. Choose 1 small habit today. Anchor it to something you already do. Repeat it daily until it feels as natural as breathing. Then add another, and another. Over time, these simple actions will transform not just your routines, but your identity. And once your identity shifts, your destiny follows. When people struggle to change, they often blame themselves. They think they lack discipline, motivation, or talent. But in truth, success is not just about inner strength. It's also about the world around you. Your environment is like a silent teacher, constantly nudging you toward certain choices. And if you design it wisely, it will pull you upward almost without effort. Think about it. When you walk into a kitchen filled with fresh fruit and cold water ready to drink, your body naturally leans toward healthier decisions. But if the same kitchen has chips, candy, and soda lined up within arm's reach, temptation will whisper until you give in. Neither moment required conscious planning. The environment made the choice feel obvious. The same principle applies to every area of life. A cluttered desk creates scattered thoughts, while a clear workspace invites focus. A bedroom dominated by screens keeps you awake at night, while a quiet, dark space encourages restful sleep. A bookshelf within reach encourages reading, while a television remote within reach encourages endless scrolling. Your surroundings are not neutral. They are shaping you every single day. Consider the rise of Steve Jobs. It wasn't just his personal drive that fueled innovation. It was also the environment he created. Jobs surrounded himself with creative thinkers, designers, and dreamers who challenged him to go further. He understood that the people and spaces we immerse ourselves in either limit us or lift us higher. By building an environment of innovation, he set the stage for breakthroughs that reshaped the world. This is why it matters who you spend time with. Human beings are natural mirrors. Without realizing it, we absorb the moods, habits, and attitudes of those around us. Spend enough time with negative people, and their complaints begin to echo in your own mind. Surround yourself with people who chase their dreams, and suddenly their energy fuels your own. It's like catching an accent after living in a new country. You don't decide to change, it just happens. That's why Jim Rohn's famous idea still rings true. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look closely at your circle. Do they encourage your growth, or do they quietly keep you small? Do they celebrate your progress, or do they criticize every attempt? Choosing companions is not about judgment. It's about alignment. Some people water your growth with encouragement, while others drain it with doubt. The soil you plant yourself in determines how high you can grow. But don't stop with people. Look at the objects and systems around you. If you want to exercise more, make it effortless. Place your running shoes by the door the night before. If you want to save money, make spending inconvenient. Delete shopping apps, leave your credit card at home. Set up automatic savings. If you want to write, keep a notebook on your desk, or open a blank document before bed so it greets you in the morning. Shape your environment so the easiest choice is the right one. Think of Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps. Long before competitions, his environment was designed for excellence. His room, his pool schedule, even the music he listened to, all crafted to reinforce the identity of a champion. By the time he stepped onto the starting block, success wasn't just about willpower. It was the natural result of years spent in a carefully crafted environment. You don't need Olympic-level preparation to use the same principle. Start small. Ask yourself, does my environment pull me toward the person I want to become or away from it? Look at your living space, your workplace, even your digital world. Is your phone filled with distractions, or is it filled with tools that support your goals? Does your living room encourage meaningful connection, or endless hours of passive entertainment? The answers reveal why some habits stick while others fade. Here's a practical strategy. Make supportive habits visible and temptations invisible. Want to drink more water? Keep a bottle on your desk. Want to read more? Place a book where you usually sit. Want to spend less time on social media? Log out and move the apps off your home screen. By controlling the cues around you, you take control of your future. Because in the end, your environment shapes your choices more than sheer discipline ever will. And remember, your environment isn't just physical. It's also emotional and cultural. The music you listen to, the podcasts in your ears, the conversations you entertain, all of these shape your mindset. If you fill your mind with negativity, don't be surprised when your outlook darkens. But if you surround yourself with uplifting voices, your own thoughts begin to rise. Your inputs determine your outputs. Of course, you can't always control every part of your environment. Sometimes you live in a noisy place, work in a stressful office, or face situations beyond your control. But you always have the power to adjust something. You can add headphones and inspiring music. You can carve out a small corner of peace in a busy home. You can choose who you call when life feels heavy. Small changes ripple outward, and over time, they create massive shifts. So take a fresh look at the spaces and people in your life. Ask yourself, what kind of person does this environment encourage me to be? If the answer excites you, nurture it. If the answer discourages you, change it step by step. Your environment should not be your enemy. It should be your ally. Build a world that supports your dreams instead of sabotaging them. Then success stops feeling like a fight against yourself and starts feeling like the natural path forward. Most people believe strength means never falling. But real strength is revealed in how quickly you rise when life knocks you down. Every person, no matter how talented or prepared, will face setbacks. Plans will fail, doors will close, storms will come. The question is not if challenges arrive, but how you respond when they do. Falling is not failure, it's part of the journey. What separates those who stay stuck from those who rise stronger is the ability to recover quickly. Think of it like a professional boxer. They don't win every round by avoiding punches. They win by standing back up each time they're hit. Life works the same way. Resilience is not about never being knocked down. It's about never staying down for long. Take Walt Disney, for example. Before his empire of imagination transformed the world, he faced repeated rejection. One of his early companies went bankrupt. Editors told him he lacked creativity, but he refused to let failure define him. Instead, each setback became fuel, sharpening his vision. Without those hard lessons, Mickey Mouse, Disneyland, and countless beloved stories would never have existed. Disney's resilience turned rejection into opportunity. The truth is, setbacks hurt. They sting. But pain is temporary, unless you let it become permanent. Many people waste precious time resisting reality, replaying what went wrong, or drowning in guilt. But acceptance is the first step toward recovery. The deal collapsed. The relationship ended. The opportunity slipped away. Once you accept what has happened, you free your energy to focus on what comes next. Acceptance is not approval. It's choosing to stop fighting the past so you can build the future. Here's a practical way to approach setbacks. Create a recovery plan before you need it. Just as ships carry lifeboats long before a storm, you can prepare strategies for when life hits hard. Maybe your plan includes taking a long walk to clear your mind, journaling your thoughts, or calling a trusted friend who listens without judgment. Maybe it's focusing on a small, achievable task to rebuild your confidence. Whatever it is, having a plan ready keeps you from sinking into despair when setbacks strike. Michael Jordan's story is another powerful example. In high school, he was cut from his basketball team. Instead of quitting, he transformed rejection into motivation. Every missed shot, every loss, every moment of doubt fueled his drive to practice harder, push further, and ultimately become one of the greatest athletes in history. Jordan didn't succeed despite setbacks. He succeeded because of how he responded to them. Recovery often begins with small actions. When everything feels overwhelming, the best step is usually the simplest. Clean your workspace. Send one message to someone supportive. Take care of a basic responsibility. These tiny wins reawaken your sense of control. They remind you that progress is still possible, even in the middle of chaos. From there, momentum builds. And don't underestimate the importance of choosing the right people during difficult times. Some voices keep you trapped in negativity, feeding your anger or despair. Others acknowledge your pain, but gently point you toward hope. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your strength, who see possibilities even when you feel blind to them. Their energy can help you rise when your own feels too weak. J.K. Rowling's path to success is another lesson in resilience. Before her first book was published, she faced rejections from more than a dozen publishers. She was unemployed, raising her child alone, and living on limited income. Yet she kept writing. Each rejection hurt, but she treated them as steps toward the right opportunity rather than signs to quit. Eventually, her persistence paid off, and millions of readers around the world were touched by the magic she refused to abandon. Her setbacks were the soil where her triumph grew. Here's something vital to remember. Setbacks are often redirections. The job you lost may lead to work more aligned with your talents. The relationship that ended may create space for deeper love. The business that failed may teach lessons that set the stage for future success. When you look back, you may realize that the closed door was guiding you toward a better one all along. Each time you rise after falling, you grow stronger. Like a tree that sinks deeper roots after surviving a storm, your resilience becomes part of you. You gain confidence that no matter what happens, you can handle it. That inner strength is worth more than never failing at all, because the person who has never been tested may look fortunate, but they lack the unshakable power of someone who has fallen and risen again. So when you stumble, and you will, don't waste energy asking why me. Instead, ask what now? Accept the fall. Rise quickly. Take the next step, and trust that the setback is not the end of your story. It is simply a chapter that proves your resilience. Life doesn't reward those who never fall. It rewards those who refuse to stay down. If you want to live with courage, one skill matters above all: trust in yourself. Without it, even the brightest opportunities look unreachable. With it, even the toughest challenges become stepping stones. Self-trust isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, choice by choice, action by action. Think of confidence like a muscle. It doesn't grow because you read about it or wish for it. It grows every time you prove to yourself that you can handle life. Each success, no matter how small, adds weight to that muscle. Each challenge faced, each fear overcome, strengthens it. Trust in yourself is built, not gifted. Take Elon Musk as an example. Before Tesla or SpaceX became household names, he faced wave after wave of doubt, from investors, from the media, even from friends. Yet he pressed forward because he trusted his ability to figure things out. That trust wasn't blind arrogance. It was evidence-based. Every time he solved a problem, no matter how small, he stored it as proof that he could solve bigger ones. That's how belief grows. Not through wishful thinking, but through repeated action. You can do the same. Begin noticing your victories, however ordinary they seem. Woke up when you said you would. That's proof of reliability. Helped someone when you didn't have to. That's evidence of kindness and strength. Completed a task you were tempted to avoid. That shows discipline. Too often, people dismiss these wins as too small to matter. But small victories are the bricks that build unshakable confidence. I once knew a young woman who dreamed of public speaking but froze at the thought of standing on stage. Instead of waiting until she felt ready, she started small, sharing ideas in tiny groups, then speaking at community gatherings. Each success, no matter how minor, became fuel for the next. Months later, she addressed a large audience with confidence she couldn't have imagined before. Her belief didn't arrive in a single flash. It grew steadily, one proof at a time. That's the secret. Belief is not arrogance, and it's not pretending you're invincible. Real belief is quiet, steady, and grounded in evidence. It's the knowledge that, even if you don't know how yet, you can learn, adapt, and find a way forward. This kind of trust doesn't come from ignoring failures. It comes from remembering how many times you've already stood back up. Unfortunately, most people focus more on their failures than their victories. They replay the one mistake they made, while ignoring the dozens of times they succeeded. Over time, that creates a false story about who they are. The remedy is simple. Keep a record of your wins. Write them down. Collect them like treasures. On days when doubt whispers in your ear, those records will remind you of who you truly are: capable, resilient, resourceful. This is why environments filled with reminders of your strength are so powerful. Hang certificates, save thank you notes, display photos of moments you conquered fear. These aren't decorations, they're anchors. They keep you grounded in truth when your mind forgets. Surround yourself with visible evidence of your progress, and your belief will grow naturally. And don't ignore the voice in your head. Self-talk is one of the most powerful forces shaping your confidence. If your inner voice constantly says, "I can't," "I'll fail," or "I'm not good enough," those words will become reality. But here's the good news: you can challenge that voice. When it says, "You can't," ask, "What proof do I have of that?" More often than not, you'll realize the voice is recycling old fears, not speaking current truth. Replace harsh self-criticism with the kind of encouragement you'd offer a close friend. Over time, your inner dialogue will shift from enemy to ally. Look at the story of Oprah Winfrey. She faced enormous challenges early in life: poverty, rejection, discrimination, but she refused to let those experiences define her worth. Through each small success, she built a foundation of self-belief that carried her forward. Eventually, her confidence became so strong that millions of people trusted her voice because she trusted it first. Her story proves that self-belief is not about perfect beginnings. It's about refusing to let doubt write your ending. Here's the truth: growth and self-trust go hand in hand. Every time you stretch beyond your comfort zone, you test your belief. Every time you succeed, the belief strengthens. Every time you stumble, but try again, the belief deepens. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. Not by skipping fear or failure, but by walking through them and discovering their own strength on the other side. Start small. Greet one stranger a day if you fear conversation. Take on one tiny project if you doubt your abilities. Step into one uncomfortable situation each week. Each action adds proof. Proof creates belief, and belief transforms how you show up in the world. Remember, self-trust isn't about expecting to succeed at everything. It's about knowing you can handle whatever happens, whether you win or whether you learn. That quiet confidence becomes your greatest tool. It gives you the courage to attempt what matters most, even without guarantees. It allows you to step into the unknown with faith in yourself. And that, more than any external approval, is what builds a life of courage and fulfillment. If direction gives you focus and habits give you momentum, then purpose is what gives your life true meaning. Without it, even success can feel strangely empty. You might earn money, collect recognition, or achieve milestones, yet still lie awake at night wondering, is this all there is? Purpose answers that question. It's the deeper why that fuels persistence, transforms ordinary actions into meaningful ones, and fills your journey with fulfillment. Purpose doesn't need to be dramatic or world-shaking. You don't need to cure disease or lead nations. Sometimes purpose is simple: raising children with love, creating art that brings joy, serving your community, or improving one small corner of the world. What makes something purposeful is not its size, but its alignment with your values. When what you do reflects who you are, even the smallest task can feel sacred. Think of Malala Yousafzai. Her purpose began as a simple desire to receive an education. That personal mission grew into a global movement for girls' education, inspiring millions. She didn't start with worldwide recognition. She started with a deeply personal sense of why her education mattered. That why carried her through hardship and gave her the courage to speak even when the cost was high. Purpose doesn't just give you direction, it gives you resilience. And here's the truth: you don't always discover your purpose in a single lightning bolt moment. More often, It reveals itself step by step. You notice what excites you, what problems you can't stop thinking about, what activities make hours feel like minutes. These are clues. Follow them, and over time your purpose becomes clearer. And as you grow, your purpose may grow too. The passion that drives you at 20 may shift at 40, and that's not failure, it's evolution. Alongside purpose comes the question of time, because time is life's most precious resource. Unlike money, you can earn more. Unlike possessions, you can't store it away. Each day delivers 24 hours equally to a billionaire and a student, a president and a farmer. The difference is in how we choose to spend them. Too many people fill their days with the urgent instead of the important. They rush to answer every message, attend every meeting, or fix every small inconvenience. Yet at the end of the day, their true goals remain untouched. This creates the illusion of productivity without meaningful progress. The secret is learning to protect your time like treasure. Each morning, choose no more than 3 important tasks that align with your purpose and complete them first. Everything else can wait. Think of Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history. He has often said that the difference between successful people and truly successful people is that the latter say no to almost everything. He protects his time fiercely, focusing only on activities that serve his highest goals. You can do the same. Each no to distractions is really a yes to your purpose. Guard your best hours. Some people work best at sunrise, when the world is still quiet. Others find their peak energy in the afternoon or late evening. Discover your rhythm and dedicate those golden hours to your most meaningful work. Leave routine tasks, emails, errands, chores for when your energy dips. This way, you invest your sharpest focus into what matters most. And don't forget, rest is not wasted time. Rest is fuel. A tired mind makes poor decisions, while a rested mind creates brilliance. Sleep, reflection, and moments of joy with people you love are investments that multiply the value of your working hours. Success is not about squeezing out every second. It's about spending your time in ways that honor your purpose and sustain your growth. Now, let's talk about growth itself. Too many people believe learning ends when school ends. But in reality, lifelong learning is the foundation of a fulfilled life. The world changes daily. Skills become outdated. Knowledge evolves. If you stop learning, you risk being left behind. Not just in your career, but in your ability to adapt, connect, and thrive. The good news: growth doesn't require classrooms or degrees. It can come from reading a few pages of a book, listening to a podcast, asking thoughtful questions, observing mentors, or experimenting with new skills. Even 10 minutes of learning a day compounds into incredible growth over years. Imagine reading 1 page a day. You'd finish multiple books a year. Imagine learning 1 new word each week. You'd know 50 more by the end of the year. Tiny, steady investments in growth compound, just like habits and savings. Nelson Mandela once said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." But education isn't limited to formal systems. It's about curiosity, humility, and openness to growth. Every mistake you make, every conversation you have, every challenge you face can become a lesson if you choose to see it that way. So here is the formula. Purpose gives your life meaning. Time transforms your days into progress. And growth ensures you never stop evolving. Together, they create a cycle of fulfillment. Purpose directs your energy. Wise use of time ensures you act on that purpose, and continuous learning expands what you're capable of achieving. And remember, this journey is never finished. Growth doesn't end with age. Purpose doesn't freeze at one point in life. Time doesn't slow for anyone. But the choices you make each day can turn those hours into a masterpiece, or into a blur of forgettable moments. The difference lies in choosing to live with clarity, discipline, and an unshakable commitment to becoming more. So live with purpose. Guard your time. Keep learning. And know this: when you combine direction, habits, environment, resilience, self-trust, and purpose, you unlock a life that is not just successful, but deeply meaningful. A life